Obi was just a 14-year-old boy who lived in a small mud hut at the far end of the village. People hardly noticed him, and when they did, it was usually to laugh or insult him. "See him," the village boys would whisper. "Always dirty, always barefoot. Son of the dust." That was what they called him, son of the dust. Obi didn't reply. He didn't like trouble. Every morning, he went to the farmland Mama Uju gave him, carrying a small hoe over his shoulder. The land was dry, the crops were slow, but Obi worked hard. He knew no one was going to help him. He had no parents, no brothers, no sisters, only Mama Uju, the old woman who took him in when he was just a baby. People said she was a herbalist, others said she was a witch, but Obi only saw her as the one person who truly cared for him. Sometimes he wondered who his real parents were, but Mama Uju never talked about them. She always said, "When the time comes, the truth will come." That made no sense to Obi, but he didn't ask questions. That morning, the sun was already hot by the time Obi reached the farm. He bent down and started removing weeds from the soil. His hands were rough, his fingers had small cuts, but he didn't stop. A few boys passed by the road near the farm. They laughed when they saw him. "Still farming like a goat?" one shouted. "Don't worry," said another. "Maybe one day you will farm gold." They laughed again and walked off. Obi sighed and kept working. After a few hours, he dropped his hoe and wiped the sweat from his face. His back was hurting. His hands were dusty. His stomach was empty. He stood up slowly and looked at the sky. "I'm tired," he whispered. "Tired of this life." He didn't know why he said that out loud. Maybe he just wanted someone, anyone, to hear him. Later that evening, Obi returned to the hut. Mama Uju was sitting outside, cutting leaves into a bowl. Her white hair was tied back. Her eyes were sharp, even though she was old. "You look tired," she said. "I am," Obi replied, sitting on a small wooden stool beside her. "The land is dry, the crops are weak, and I'm tired of the insults." Mama Uju looked at him carefully. She didn't speak for a few seconds. Then she said, "Come inside." Obi followed her into the hut. The air inside was cool and quiet. The walls were lined with baskets and dried herbs. There was a small mat on the floor and an old clay pot in one corner. Mama Uju walked to a corner of the room. She opened a small wooden box that Obi had never seen before. It was covered in a faded cloth. She sat on the floor and opened the box slowly. Inside, there was something shiny. Obi moved closer. It was a golden pendant, shaped like a lion's head. The eyes of the lion were tiny red stones. Beside the pendant was a small scroll, tied with red string. Obi stared at it. "What is that?" he asked softly. Mama Uju didn't answer immediately. She picked up the pendant and placed it in his hand. "It belongs to you," she said. "Me? Why?" She looked straight into his eyes. "Because, Obi, you are not just a poor boy. You are not a son of the dust. You are the son of a king." Obi blinked. He looked at her again, thinking he didn't hear well. "What did you say?" "I said you are a prince," she said, her voice calm. "The only child of King Izobina and Queen Ataku." Obi stood up quickly, dropping the pendant. No, that can't be true. You must be joking." "I am not," Mama Uju said. But my parents died of sickness. That's what you told me." She sighed. Her eyes became sad. "I lied. I did it to protect you. Your parents were killed, Obi. Murdered in cold blood." Obi felt like the floor was shaking beneath him. "Who killed them?" he asked. Mama Uju didn't speak for a while. Then she said, "The same man who sits on the throne today. Chief Maduka. He was your father's friend. He wanted the crown. He poisoned them during a village festival. Then he told the people it was a sickness." Obi sat back down, his head spinning. No, this can't be true." "I know it's hard," she said. "But it's time you knew the truth. The people don't know you're alive. They think the baby prince died in the fire that night. But I saved you. I took you and ran." "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Obi asked. "You were too young. If anyone had known who you were, they would have killed you too." But now, the village is falling apart. Maduka rules with fear. People are hungry. They need a true king. Obi shook his head. But I'm just a farmer. I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to lead. You will learn, she said. The blood of kings runs in your veins. Obi looked at the pendant again. He picked it up and held it tightly. What's in the scroll? He asked. Mama Uju untied the red string and opened it. It was written in thick black ink. This is your father's final message. He wrote it before the festival, the day he was killed. Obi read the words slowly. It was short but powerful. To my son, if you ever read this, it means the light has returned. Rule with wisdom. Rule with kindness. Remember the people. Remember your name. Obi didn't speak. His hands were shaking. Mama Uju stood and touched his shoulder gently. You must leave tonight, she said. Why? Because I saw a vision last night. The wind brought the smell of danger. Maduka's spies are close. If they find you, it will be too late. Where will I go? To the Aqua Forest, she replied. There are people there who can help you. People who were once royal guards, now hiding in the shadows. They will guide you. Obi swallowed hard. But what about you? I will stay, she said. I'm too old to run. I will mislead them. But you must go. You must live. Obi's eyes filled with tears. I can't leave you. You must, she said firmly. This is bigger than both of us. Suddenly, they heard something. A faint sound of horse hooves. Obi turned to the door. Mama Uju's eyes became sharp. They're here, she whispered. Take the pendant. Take the scroll. Go through the back path. Run fast. Don't look back. Obi hesitated, but she pushed him toward the door. Run, my son. Obi ran into the darkness, clutching the pendant and scroll tightly. Behind him, he heard shouting, men's voices, the sound of boots hitting the ground, and dogs barking. But he didn't stop. He ran through the narrow bush path, his heart beating like a drum. Branches scratched his arms. Thorns cut his feet, but he didn't feel pain. He only thought about Mama Uju, about the truth, about the crown, about everything he never knew. He didn't know where the path would lead, but deep in his heart, something had changed. He was no longer just a farmer. He was no longer a son of the dust. He was the son of a king, and his story was just beginning. Obi kept running. The bush path was narrow and full of sharp sticks. His feet were bleeding. His chest was rising and falling fast. He didn't stop. He couldn't stop. Behind him, he still heard shouting. He didn't know if the men were chasing him or if they stayed behind with Mama Uju. But he knew one thing: he had to get far away. The pendant swung on his neck. The scroll was tied in his waistband. He held onto a long stick he picked from the bush. Not to fight, but to keep his balance. The night was dark. The sky had no moon. The only light was the soft glow of fireflies around him. Obi had never been to the Aqua Forest before. He had only heard stories. People said it was a place of spirits, snakes, and shadows. Some even said people entered and never returned. But he had no choice now. He walked deeper and deeper into the trees. The forest was thick and quiet. Every sound made his heart jump. A bird's cry, a branch falling, even his own footsteps. Suddenly, he heard a voice. Stop walking. Obi froze. The voice was close. It was a girl's voice, strong and serious. Put down the stick, she said again. Obi turned slowly. He saw someone step out from behind a tree. It was a girl about his age or maybe a little older. She had a long scar on her left arm and held a sharp spear in her hand. Her clothes were rough, like someone who had lived in the forest for years. I said drop it, she repeated, her eyes fixed on him. I'm not here to fight, Obi said quickly. I'm just trying to find help. Who are you? She asked. My name is Obi. Where are you coming from? Nkata village, he said. I ran away. Men were chasing me. Why? Obi didn't answer. He wasn't sure if he could trust her. The girl moved closer. Are you a thief? No, Obi said. Are you a spy? No, I'm not a spy. Then what are you? she asked, lowering her spear just a little. Obi took a deep breath. I'm the son of the late king. The girl's eyes widened. She stared at him for a moment, then burst out laughing. You? A king's son? You look like a hungry goat. I know, Obi said, but it's true. I didn't know until yesterday. Then why should I believe you? He pulled out the pendant from under his shirt and showed her. Her smile faded. She looked at it carefully. Then she touched the lion's head on the pendant. Her fingers shook a little. I've seen this before, she whispered. My father showed me once. He said only the king's family wears it. Obi nodded. It belonged to my father. The girl stepped back. She looked at him again, this time with different eyes. I'm Adiz, she said slowly. My father was one of the royal guards before Chief Maduka took over. He was killed when he refused to kneel to him. I'm sorry, Obi said. Adiz didn't reply. She just turned around and said, Come with me. Obi followed her through a small path that led deeper into the forest. After a few minutes, they reached a hidden camp. There were 3 people sitting by a small fire, 2 men and 1 older woman. They all stood up when they saw Adiz bringing Obi. Who is this? Asked the younger man, picking up a short knife. A stranger, said the second man, a strong-looking one with a heavy beard. Should we tie him up first? No, Adiz said. He's not a threat. How do you know? The older woman asked, her eyes sharp like Mama Uju's. Adiz pointed to the pendant. The group went silent. Then the bearded man stepped forward. I'm Dyke, he said. I was the palace gatekeeper once. I'm Toby, said the younger one. I steal food from Maduka's market and bring it here. I'm good at running. The old woman stepped closer. My name is Ezen. I listen to the spirits. Obi nodded slowly. I'm still trying to understand everything. Dyke stared at him for a while. You don't look like a prince. I know, Obi said quietly. I didn't grow up in a palace. I grew up in dust. Ezen walked in a circle around him. But sometimes, she said softly, the strongest trees grow from the smallest seeds. Obi didn't understand what she meant, but her voice felt calm. Why are you here? Dyke asked him. Obi told them everything. From the insults in the village to Mama Uju's words, the golden pendant, the scroll, the escape, and the forest. Nobody spoke for a while. Then Adiz said, If what he's saying is true, this boy might be the answer we've been waiting for. Toby chuckled. So what now? We give him a crown and bow before him? No, Dyke said. But if he's really the prince, then we must train him. Train me? Obi asked. Yes, Dyke said. You can't go back to the village as a scared farmer. If you want to take back your throne, you must learn how to fight, how to lead, how to speak with power. Obi looked at his thin arms. I don't know if I can. You'll learn, Adiz said firmly. We'll teach you. That night, they gave Obi a small blanket and a place to sleep beside the fire. He couldn't sleep well. His body was tired, but his mind was full. He was no longer in the village. He was no longer invisible, but everything ahead still felt too big. The next morning, training began. Dyke handed him a wooden sword. Let me see what you can do. Obi tried to hold it, but it was heavy. When Dyke attacked softly, Obi dropped it. Again, Dyke said. Obi picked it up again. The same thing happened. Again and again. I'm not strong enough, Obi said after a while. No, Dyke said. You just don't believe in yourself yet. Meanwhile, Toby taught him how to move quietly through the forest. Step on the sides of your feet, Toby said. Not the center. That way your steps don't make noise. Obi tried. He tripped over a root and landed on his face. Toby laughed. You're learning. Adiz trained him on how to fight with a spear. Your hands are soft. They must become hard. Hold it firm. Don't swing like you're chasing chickens. Every day, Obi trained. He failed, fell, got hurt, but got up again. Ezen taught him about the past. Your father was kind but strong. Your mother was brave. You carry both their spirits. She also taught him how to listen. Not just to people, but to the forest, to the wind, to his own heart. Sometimes at night, Obi sat alone staring at the pendant. He missed Mama Uju. He wondered if she was safe. He wondered if he'd ever be ready for what was coming. One evening, while sitting near the fire, Ezen came beside him. "Do you dream?" she asked. "Yes," Obi said. "Sometimes." "Tell me." "I dreamed I was standing on a hill. People were bowing before me. But then, the sky turned red. I looked down, and my hands were full of blood." Ezen nodded slowly. "It's not just a dream. It's a warning. The path ahead will not be easy. Power brings danger." "I don't want to hurt anyone," Obi said. "But you must protect your people," she replied. "Even if it means fighting." Obi didn't answer. His heart felt heavy. A few days later, something strange happened. A strange man came close to the camp, dirty, limping, and coughing. Toby caught him and brought him in. "Kill me. I'm just a traveler." Ezen looked into his eyes. "He's lying." They tied him to a tree. When night came, Adiz searched his bag and found a small letter. It was a message from Maduka's palace. The man was a spy. He was sent to find out if the prince was alive, Adiz said. Obi's heart beat fast. "He knows I'm here." "No," Dyke said. "He only knows someone is hiding in the forest. We must be careful now." Obi felt fear again, but also strength. The time was coming. He was changing. No longer a scared farmer boy, not yet a king, but something in between, something powerful, something rising, and the world would soon see it. The days passed slowly in the forest. Obi was no longer the same weak boy who had first run into Aku Forest. His arms were stronger now. His eyes were sharper. He could carry a spear without dropping it. He could move through the trees without making a sound. His hands had cuts. His legs had bruises. But his heart was different now, braver, firmer. Still, deep inside, he knew something was missing. He was training every day. He was learning how to fight, how to speak, how to survive. But he had not seen his people. He had not seen Kata village since the night he ran away. He didn't know how bad things had become. One night, Obi sat by the fire. The flames danced gently in the wind. "Dyke," he said, "I want to go back." Dyke looked up from sharpening his blade. "Back where?" "To the village." Adiz raised her head quickly. "Are you mad? That's too risky." "I won't go as myself," Obi said. "I'll go in disguise, just to see, just to look." Toby chuckled. "You want to go sightseeing in a place where your head is worth gold?" "I need to know how the people are living," Obi said. "I want to see their pain. I want to feel it for myself. If I don't understand their suffering, how can I lead them later?" Ezen, who had been sitting quietly in the shadows, finally spoke. "He is right." Everyone turned to her. "The crown is not just about fighting," she said softly. "It is about knowing your people, their hunger, their fear, their sorrow. Only then can your heart lead them." Adiz folded her arms. "Then I'm going with him." "So am I," Dyke added. Toby raised his hand. "Me too, but only if I get to wear a fancy disguise." Everyone laughed a little, but the air was still heavy. They knew this was not a joke. They would be walking into danger. The next morning, they dressed in simple rags. Adiz tied a scarf around Obi's head to hide his face. Toby covered his own face with dirt and leaves. They moved like shadows through the forest path and entered Nkata from the eastern side, where there were fewer guards. The village looked worse than Obi remembered. The roads were dusty and dry. The houses looked weak, some half-fallen. The market was smaller now. Many stalls were empty. The ones that had food were crowded with angry, hungry people. "Why are the prices so high?" one woman shouted at a trader. "Go and ask your king," the man shouted back. "Do you think food grows by magic?" Obi watched as a small boy reached for a yam on the ground, but the trader slapped his hand away. "Thief!" the man shouted. "He's just hungry," said the boy's mother, holding him tightly. "No food for beggars," the trader said. Obi's heart broke. He turned to Ezen. "This This is not the village I knew. It is what Maduka made it, she replied. They moved closer to the palace. Big guards stood at the gate, holding heavy sticks and long swords. Inside, drums were beating. A group of dancers was practicing in the courtyard. What's going on? Adiz whispered. Toby pointed. They're preparing for something. They asked a nearby woman who was selling palm oil. What's the celebration about? Dyke asked her. She looked around before answering. The king is choosing a new heir, she said softly. He wants to make his nephew the next ruler. Obi clenched his fists. He wants to give my father's throne to someone else? Maduka knows his time is short, Ezen said. He's trying to protect himself. Just then, a weak voice came from behind them. Help! Help me! They turned and saw a small girl, maybe 7 years old, lying near a tree. Her legs were dirty, her dress torn. Obi rushed to her side. What happened to you? I was beaten. I took a mango from the palace tree, she said, holding her side in pain. Obi's eyes turned red. They beat a child for a mango? The girl's mother came running, kneeling beside them. I told her not to go near the palace, she said, crying. But she was hungry. She didn't listen. Obi reached into his pocket and gave the woman the little food he had brought. Take this. Thank you, kind stranger, the woman said, tears in her eyes. May the gods bless you. As they walked away, Adiz whispered, Now do you see why you must fight for them? Obi nodded. I see now. I understand better. As they turned a corner, they passed by a group of old men sitting under a tree. One of them looked very familiar to Dyke. That's Elder Okoro, Dyke whispered. He used to be close to the king. Obi turned to look at the man. He looked older now, thinner, with sunken cheeks. But his eyes were still sharp. They walked past without saying anything, but Dyke seemed quiet afterward. That evening, back in the forest, Obi sat beside Dyke. You know him, don't you? Obi asked. Yes, Dyke replied. He was one of the men who helped your father run the kingdom. Then why didn't he fight Maduka? Dyke was silent for a moment. Then he said, Because he was part of it. What? He was part of the group that helped Maduka poison your parents. Obi felt like someone punched his chest. Are you sure? I'm sure, Dyke said, his voice low. I overheard them that night. They were in the inner chamber. They thought I couldn't hear. Obi stood up. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I wasn't ready, Dyke said. It's hard to accept that someone you trusted was part of such evil. Obi didn't speak for a while. Then he said, I want to confront him. No, Dyke said. Not yet. You need more strength. More support. The right time will come. Obi turned to the fire and looked into the flames. I won't rest until I bring them all down, he said softly. Ezen came and sat beside him. You will, she said, but not with anger, with wisdom. Obi looked at her. How do I fight evil without hate in my heart? She smiled. By remembering why you fight, not for revenge, but for justice, for peace, for your people. Obi nodded slowly. Suddenly, Toby ran in from the edge of the camp. News, he shouted. Big news. What is it? Adiz asked. There's going to be a festival in 3 days, Toby said. A big one. Maduka will declare his nephew as the new heir. Obi stood up. Then that is our moment. Everyone turned to him. We will go there, not in secret, not in disguise, but in truth. Adiz raised her eyebrows. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Yes, Obi said. I will walk into that festival. I will stand before the people, and I will show them who I really am. And if Maduka attacks you? Dyke asked. Then let him try, Obi said. The people must see the truth. They must choose between a liar and their real king. The fire crackled softly. The air felt heavy again. But this time it was not fear. It was purpose. Obi was ready, not just in his body, but in his heart. The time for hiding was over. The son of the king was going home. The camp was quiet that night. But no one was sleeping. Obi sat near the fire, looking at the glowing pendant in his hand. His fingers ran slowly over the lion's head. The flames reflected in his eyes. His mind was heavy. Adiz came and sat beside him. "You're really going to do it?" she asked. "Yes," Obi said. "I have to. You know Maduka will try to kill you in front of everyone." Obi nodded. "I'm not afraid anymore." Adiz looked at him. "You should be. You're walking into a lion's mouth." "I won't be alone," Obi said. "I have all of you." Adiz didn't reply. She only stared at the fire. Soon the others joined them. Dyke sat with his sword beside him. Toby brought some roasted corn and passed it around. Ezen walked over slowly and sat across from Obi. "This will not be easy," she said. "I know," Obi replied. "You will be tested not just by Maduka but by the people too. Some will believe you, others won't." "They will," Obi said softly, "when they see the truth." Ezen nodded. "Then let's begin." "Begin what?" Toby asked with a mouth full of corn. "Preparing," she said. "This is not a fight of swords. It is a fight of hearts." They spent the rest of the night planning. Ezen taught Obi how to speak with power. Dyke taught him how to stand tall like a leader. Adiz helped him practice how to move in front of a crowd without fear. Toby went over escape paths, just in case things went wrong. By morning, everything was set. They dressed Obi in simple but clean clothes. Around his neck was the pendant. On his waist, he tied the scroll, the king's last message. As they got ready to leave, Ezen stood before Obi. "You carry more than your father's name," she said. "You carry the hope of your people." Obi looked at her with steady eyes. "Then I won't fail them." They moved carefully through the forest, sticking to secret paths. When they reached the edge of the village, they paused to watch. The village was busy. Drums were beating. Flags were flying. Dancers filled the open square. People were wearing their best clothes. The smell of roasted meat filled the air. It was the festival. Toby looked around and whispered, "So much celebration for a lie." Dyke pointed to the center of the square. A large wooden stage had been built. Chairs were set around it. At the top, Maduka sat in a golden chair, dressed in fine red robes. Beside him stood a young man, his nephew. "That's the one he wants to crown," Adiz said, her voice sharp. "The people look happy," Obi said, surprised. "They're not happy," Ezen replied. "They're distracted. That's what Maduka wants. Music instead of truth. Dancing instead of justice." Obi nodded. "Then it's time to wake them." He stepped out into the open. People turned as he walked through the crowd. No one recognized him at first, but when Adiz and Dyke followed behind, whispers started. "Who is that? Where are they going? Who is that boy with the pendant?" Obi climbed the stage slowly. The music stopped. Drums went silent. Maduka frowned. "Who dares walk onto my stage?" Obi turned to him and said clearly, "My name is Obi, son of King Izobina and Queen Ataku." The crowd gasped. Maduka laughed loudly. "This is nonsense." Obi pulled out the pendant and raised it high. "This belonged to my father. Given to me by the only person who risked her life to save me, Mama Uju." The people began to murmur. Obi untied the scroll and opened it. "This is the last message written by the king, my father. Listen carefully." His voice shook a little at first, but he kept going. "To my son, if you ever read this, it means the light has returned. Rule with wisdom. Rule with kindness. Remember the people. Remember your name." A deep silence followed. Obi stepped forward. "You have been ruled by a man who took the crown with poison. A man who fed you lies. A man who beat your children and taxed your hunger. But today, I stand before you, not to fight for revenge, but to fight for truth." Maduka stood up. His face was red with anger. "You liar! This boy is a fraud. He wants to fool you with fake stories and empty words." Dyke stepped forward. "I was a palace guard. I saw the truth. I saw Maduka's betrayal." Adiz added, "My father was killed for standing against Maduka. This boy is the rightful king." More villagers started to speak. "I remember that pendant," one elder said. "That scroll has the king's seal," another shouted. The crowd was growing louder. Maduka raised his hand and shouted, "Guards! Arrest them!" Several guards rushed forward, weapons in hand. Obi stood still. "If you touch me, you touch the crown." The guards paused. Toby had already moved through the crowd, calling others. "Don't let him silence us. Stand for justice." More villagers stood in front of the stage, forming a wall between the guards and Obi. The guards hesitated. They were outnumbered now. Maduka's voice cracked. "You fools! You believe a poor boy over your king." Obi turned to him. "You were never the king. You were only a thief wearing a crown." Maduka reached for his sword. "I'll kill you myself." He charged at Obi, but Dyke blocked him with his own sword. Their blades clashed. Sparks flew. The crowd screamed. Adiz jumped in and kicked Maduka's sword from his hand. It fell to the ground. Obi picked it up and held it, but he didn't raise it to strike. Instead, he threw it down. "I don't need a sword to win," he said loudly. "I only need the truth." The crowd cheered. Maduka fell to his knees, breathing heavily. "Please," he said, looking up, "don't kill me." Obi looked at him for a moment. Then he said, "I'm not like you." He turned to the people. "I will not spill blood today, but let it be known that this man stole your crown, and now he must leave." The people started shouting, "Out! Out!" The guards dropped their weapons and walked away. No one stood with Maduka anymore. The villagers chased him out, throwing stones and sticks. Maduka ran, his fine robes now dirty and torn. Obi stood on the stage, watching him disappear. The people looked at him. They were silent again. Then, one by one, they began to kneel. "Long live the true king!" someone shouted. "Obi! Obi! Obi!" The name echoed across the square. Obi looked around at the faces. Old and young, rich and poor, all united. He had no golden crown on his head. But he didn't need one. He had something greater, the love of his people. And in that moment, he knew the fire beneath the crown was not anger. It was justice. It was truth. It was the beginning of a new kingdom. The village square was still buzzing with energy. People stood all around, whispering, shouting, crying. Some looked at Obi with pure awe, while others still seemed unsure. Obi stood on the wooden stage, his heart pounding. He had won, but it didn't feel like victory yet. Not fully. Dyke stepped beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "It's over," he said. Obi shook his head. "Not yet." Adiz turned to him. "Maduka is gone. The people believe you. What else is left?" Obi looked out at the crowd, scanning their faces. Some filled with hope, some still afraid, some waiting. "They have followed a liar for too long," he said. "They need more than my name. They need to know what comes next." He took a deep breath and stepped forward. The crowd fell silent. Obi's voice was clear, strong, but full of emotion. "You all see me standing here," he said. "You hear my name. You know my father, you know my mother. You see the pendant, the scroll, the truth." He let his words settle in before continuing. "But this moment is not just about me. It is about us." A few heads lifted. A few voices murmured. "For years you have suffered. For years you have lived in fear. Some of you forgot how to hope. Some of you stopped believing in change. But today, I stand before you as proof that the past is not lost." An elder in the crowd, his voice shaking with age, called out, "What will you do for us, my king?" Obi felt the weight of the words. My king. He had dreamed of this moment, but not for power, not for revenge, for something greater. "I will rebuild what was broken," Obi said. "Not just the palace, not just the roads, but the hearts of this kingdom." The people listened. The air was thick with expectation. "There will be no more leaders who rule with fear," Obi continued. "There will be no more children beaten for being hungry. No more fathers arrested for speaking the truth. No more widows left with nothing." A woman in the crowd covered her mouth, tears running down her face. Under my rule, Obi said. No one will be left behind. The crowd roared. People clapped, cheered, raised their hands. The village had come alive again. Dyke watched in silence, nodding. Your father would be proud. Ezen, standing at the edge of the stage, smiled. The spirits are listening, she whispered. Toby grinned. Well, this is the first time I've seen people cheer for a king without being forced. Adiz shook her head. I don't know how, but you did it. Obi turned to them, his friends, the ones who had been with him from the beginning. Not just me. We did. He looked back at the people. Tomorrow we begin. Together. The crowd cheered again, louder, stronger. The next morning, Obi stood at the entrance of the ruined palace. It was strange seeing it up close after so many years. The walls were still tall, but cracks ran through them. The golden carvings were faded. The once beautiful doors were scratched and broken. He stepped inside. The halls were dark and silent. The air smelled of dust and forgotten things. The throne room, once full of life, was empty. He walked slowly to the throne. His father used to sit there. His mother used to stand beside him. Now it was just him. His fingers brushed against the armrest. Cold, heavy. Adiz and Dyke walked in behind him. Strange, isn't it? Adiz said. All the trouble we went through, just to end up back here. Dyke nodded. It doesn't feel like a home yet. Obi turned. Because it's not. Not yet. He stepped away from the throne. This place will not be rebuilt with gold, he said. It will be rebuilt with the people. Adiz raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? The palace should not be a place where kings sit high above their people, Obi said. It should be a place where the people can come, can speak, can be heard. Dyke smiled. Then we start today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe. Here is another interesting story to watch. Click to watch now.